What is a quote from a fictional character that has stuck with you ever since? It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. Thorin Oakenshield, * The Hobbit *. I wish it need not have happened in my time, said Frodo. So do I, said Gandalf, and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. Do you know the difference between an error and a mistake? Anyone can make an error, it does not become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Sin is treating people as things. Granny Weatherwax. Personal is not the same as important, Ian Founderson. Both from Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created? Dr. Romero, Spy Kids 2. Either. Your steps don't need to be big, they just need to take you in the right direction. Gemma Simmons, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or. It's dangerous business going out your front door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to. Bilbo Baggins. Tell me of the loneliness of good, He-Man. Is it equal to the loneliness of evil? Skeletor. Never half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing. Ron Swanson. Nervous as fuck at my first professional job review, I brought this up. Still somehow got the job even though she advised I didn't do that in the future, face with tears of joy. Stand in the ash of a trillion dead souls and ask the ghosts if honor matters. The silence is your answer. Harvick from Mass Effect 3. The very very last one of his kind that was wiped out 50,000 years prior to the game. What does it matter how moral you were if your entire culture /civilization /race is completely annihilated by a force that is completely immoral? The scripture worshippers put the writings ahead of God. Instead of interpreting God's actions in nature, for example, they interpret nature in the light of the scripture. Nature says the rock is billions of years old, but the book says different, so even though men wrote the book, and God made the rock and God gave us minds that have found ways to tell how old it is, we still choose to believe the scripture. Sherry S. Tepper. A man who could afford $50 had a pair of boots that'd still be keeping his feet dry in 10 years' time, while the poor man who could only afford cheap boots would have spent $100 on boots in the same time and would still have wet feet. This was Captain Samuel Vim's Boots theory of socio-economic unfairness. Terry Pratchett _ I think it stuck with me because I heard it at such a young age. It does not do well to dwell on dreams and forget to live, Dumbledore. You're not a bad guy, there's no such thing as a bad guy or a good guy. We're all just guys and we go around doing good stuff sometimes, and bad stuff sometimes. All we can do is try to do less bad stuff and more good stuff. You'll never be good, because you can never be bad. Diane Nguyen from *Bohack Horseman *. As someone who tends to worry about the future and broad, vague things, I always think of the quote from Hagrid, Harry Potter, that goes no good sitting worrying about it. What's coming will come and we'll meet it when it does. I also really love anything by Lemony Snicket, but perhaps a favorite is Fate is like a strange, unpopular restaurant filled with odd little waiters who bring you things you never asked for and don't always like. Of course it's all in your head, but why on earth should that have to mean it isn't real? Dumbledore. Grown-ups don't look like grown-ups on the inside either. Outside, they're big and thoughtless and they always know what they're doing. Inside, they look just like they always have. Like they did when they were your age. Truth is, there aren't any grown-ups. Not one, in the whole wide world. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. People will believe a lie because they want it to be true or are afraid it might be. Athos from the Three Musketeers. And also, in general, people only ask for advice that they may not follow it, or, if they should follow it, that they may have somebody to blame for having given it. You are not your job, you're not how much money you have in the bank. You are not the car you drive. You're not the contents of your wallet. You are not your fucking car keys. You are all singing, all dancing crap of the world. You know, there are some words I've known since I was a schoolboy. With the first link, the chain is forged. The first speech censured, the first thought forbidden, the first freedom denied, chains us all irrevocably. Those words were uttered by Judge Aaron Satie, as wisdom and warning. The first time any man's freedom is trodden on, we're all damaged. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Star Trek, The Next Generation, the drumhead. They like the things science gives them, but not the questions science asks. From Frankenweenie. I do know that for the sympathy of one living being, I would make peace with all. I have love in me the likes of which you can scarcely imagine, and rage the likes of which you would not believe. If I cannot satisfy the one, I will indulge the other. Frankenstein by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. Change is not always growth, but growth is often rooted in change. Dries Duurden. R.A. Salvatore. I shall inflict upon the genophage the greatest insult an enemy can suffer. To be ignored. It's true, ignoring your enemies drives them nuts. They laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at them because they're all the same. The Joker. So it goes. Repeated like 150 times in Slaughterhouse 5. I know it's not exactly from one fictional character, I guess maybe it is from a fictional narrator, but it always stuck with me. It might not seem like much out of context, but the way he used it up against the absolute chaos and absurdity of existence, especially in regards to the horrors of a world war, is one of the more memorable parts of any book I've ever read. You don't arm yourself after war has been declared, Stefan. You build your army so great that no one dares pick the fight. Klaus Mikaelsen. Being a hero isn't about letting others know you did the right thing, it's about you knowing you did the right thing. Grandpa Max from Ben 10. It was always at night, the arrests invariably happened at night. The sudden jerk out of sleep, the rough hand shaking your shoulder, the lights glaring in your eyes, the ring of hard faces round the bed. George Orwell, 1984. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you actually left them. Andy Bernard. It's my estimation that every man ever got a statue made of him was one kind of sombitch or another. Captain Tightpants. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. Tilda Mewtwo. Why does Leslie Knope get as many favors as she wants? Because she's the kind of person who uses favors to help other people. Parks and Rec. Also, where should I look from so that I can see the same things as you? From Fruits Basket. Not exactly profound, but it's damn poetic. The key is to put it all in your groin and your back. Take your legs totally out of the equation. Lift with your lower back in a jerking, twisting motion.